Hey guys, so welcome to day 2 of my daily vlogs. I got a lot of responses from you guys yesterday. It was really fun, kind of just going through and talking to all of you. It gives me something to do every day. That's a fun thing to do. Get away from the stresses of trying to make it as a full-time artist. But I wanted to, well, first of all, I wanted to say happy birthday to '07 Cosmo 1, who asked me to say happy birthday to him. And second of all, I wanted to answer a question from Mr. Smo Shakes from the UK, who asked me how I got into the Think Tank and how we started this place in general. So despite the fact that my studio is blindingly bright in the morning to the point where I can't paint, it's my favorite place in the world. It's literally my favorite place that I've ever been in the world. So I have no problem explaining how I got here. And I would say that if you want to get into a place like this yourself, that you just need to find like-minded individuals. That's the first thing to do. You can't start it unless you find a few other people that want to change the world. So I'll get into that in a second. Basically what happened is, you guys, if you've been following me for a really long time, you've been watching me since I had a channel called Wigga Trigga TV. And when I did that, it's kind of explains how I got into custom shoes as well, but I made some custom shoes, made a video, got featured on YouTube, got a bunch of views, and then I was able to start talking to some of the people that I respected on YouTube, which in the YouTube world, your views kind of add up to whether you're worth talking to or not, in a lot of cases. I mean, YouTube people are really nice, they're going to talk to you anyway, but in terms of like, I want to work with you, a lot of the times it's views that get your foot in that door. So I got a bunch of views, and then I started talking to a guy named Swoozy. He's my good friend now, Adonde. He's a pro gamer. He was making a bunch of videos about just telling stories about his life. And so I told him I wanted to work with him. I wanted to make a pair of custom shoes for him, and he hit me back saying that he was going to be on a show which he couldn't explain yet, which ended up being Ultimate Gamer. I think I've told this story, but it kind of leads into my whole Think Tank experience. So I made this pair of shoes for him. He was going to wear them on the show, and then the producer of the show told him, the casting producer told him he could not wear them on the show because they weren't allowed to have any kind of logos or brands or anything on the show, and that they had Mario just right across the side. And while it didn't have a logo on it, Mario is a pretty recognizable character, and it's just not something that's okay for reality TV. So what ended up happening is the producer felt bad. The producer's name was John Kenneman, and he hit me up and he said that he wanted to exchange what views I would have gotten on the show for views in an art show, because he lived at a place called the Brewery, which is the largest art colony in the world, probably. And they open up their doors. They give their residents the option to open up all of their doors to their studios, which is something like 300-something studios, which are also living spaces, right outside LA, very, very close. And thousands and thousands and thousands of people come over the course of 2 days and walk through all the studios. So I went there, I showed my stuff. His son was a street artist, a stencil artist, named Caleb, who you've seen a lot on my channel by now. And Caleb and I hit it off really quick. We kind of developed this whole like brother relationship where we just get on each other's nerves nonstop, but we absolutely love each other. And despite the fact that we always end up fighting, we do project after project after project with one another, and they always come out really well, and we learn a lot the whole time. So he's one of my best friends, almost like a brother. I never had any brothers, and there's a few people who have filled those slots throughout my life, and Caleb's one of them. So I ended up doing that art show with them. I did like 2 or 3 art shows with them at the brewery, and we decided that the brewery started making too many rules that we didn't feel like following, and it had kind of changed from what it originally was. Even I saw it change, but John had been there for like 10 years, and so he said it was way different than where it started. So we started looking for another place. I lived at a house at that point. When I first met Caleb, I lived in South Central in the jungles. If you've seen Training Day, it's the neighborhood from Training Day that the white guy's not allowed to go to. I lived there for about a year. Then I moved to Westwood, lived there for about a year in a Jewish neighborhood, and I lived with a Jewish guy, and it was one of my funnest roommates I've ever had. I had a blast there, and I didn't want to leave. But I had already said like a year before that I was going to go in on it with these guys when they started this gallery of their own that they were going to live at. So they started looking all over the place. We found a place at MacArthur Park that we really liked. It was, I can't remember how big it was. I think it was 9,000 square feet, but 2 floors. We were going to have 18,000 square feet, and it was like less than 33 cents per square foot or something like that. I don't remember. John will correct me. But it was it was an incredible place, and we were like for sure moving in there. We were going to build all of our rooms on the top and have a gallery on the bottom. You could drive a car into the gallery. It had its own little back alley that was totally closed in, that no one else could really access. Right across the street from MacArthur Park, so we could go hang out there. The only bad thing about it is MacArthur Park is not the nicest place in LA. There's a lot of like drug sales and illegal IDs and illegal immigrants, sex trafficking, a lot of stuff like that. MacArthur Park is really not the nicest place. So we were a little bit worried about that, but we didn't care. I mean, we're a bunch of artists. We want to move into a place like that anyway, and artists are typically known for not really taking people's shit. So what ended up happening is we decided we were going to move in there, and then the people kind of tried to like gyp us and tell us that we could only get one floor for the price, which was like twice as much money, obviously twice as much money as it was going to be. And so we were like, screw you guys, we're gonna find somewhere else. We found two more places, one by Union Station and then this one here, and it was really weird, man. Like I remember walking in the first time we walked in. It was at that point it was myself, John, his son Caleb, and Adam Bowden, who had all the three of those guys were from St. Louis, and they all lived together, and I had become really close friends with them. And then I convinced my friend SoCal to move down from Sacramento because he was getting kind of restless up there in Sacramento where there's not really much going on. He just wanted to do something exciting. So originally it was the five of us. SoCal didn't get to see where he was moving. He just knew he was going to move into a warehouse space that he was going to have a really big room. That's what he was promised, at least. It's not how it ended up working out. By now it's worked out, but originally, well, I'll get to that. So we came to the space. I remember coming to the space, walking in, and it was like a maze. There was all these tight corridors with walls, like white walls. It was 12-foot ceiling, so the walls went up really, really high. I remember there was a window that looked into an office space with a cool desk that we ended up getting rid of. I don't know why we got rid of that desk. I really wanted it, but and you walked around, and it was really weird. And there was carpet stored or fabric stored in some areas, and I just remember thinking, man, this is more work than it's worth. And then we stepped back into, we had only explored like the first third of the space, which is about twice as big as my apartment. And we step back and we open up, and I just see the house just expand backwards, just like hundreds of feet. And I remember thinking, my heart dropped, and I remember thinking that no matter what happened from that point on, this was going to be the most important thing in my life. And so we walked around. I had video of it, and the light was coming in through the back, and that was the only light, so it was just like lit from the front. And I had walked in afterwards because they had already been to the space and they just wanted to walk back there, and I was still looking around the front. And I walk in, and Caleb and John are like walking around up at the front taking pictures, and I can just kind of see them silhouetted, like it was their silhouette with like a halo of light around them. And it was just this really inspiring moment, and I decided like right then that was it. And so I told SoCal that it was great. He wasn't going to get as big of a room as he wanted, but he was already moving to LA anyway, so it was just kind of like something he had to deal with. And he lived with me in Westwood for a little while, and then we got here. And at first, the first couple months, we were trying to convince everyone we knew to move in with us. And we were camping. We had beds with all of our stuff in boxes in like this big giant room with beds there. And we didn't have hot water for a little while, no electricity in most of the house. And we were just kind of camping there. It was hot as hell, and during the summer, like, got to be 113 degrees. So at first we were trying to convince people to move in, and no one would do it. In fact, there were certain friends that were like, yeah, we'll move in with you, we'll move in with you. And then when we actually got the space, they were like, ew, this is where you're living, we're not going to move in. And ended up having to stay in the apartment that they were currently at, and we had to try to convince people on Craigslist to move in with us. And we convinced Aurelia and Ryan McGuffin to move in, and they worked on the space really hard with us, and they're almost like co-founders. They're not quite, because we lived there for like a month or two before they moved in, but they were almost like co-founders. And we were really happy to have them move in because of the rent drop. Over that period of time, I've posted kind of update videos on my channel, but over that period of time, we were on my main channel, but we were working on the space nonstop. We have been nonstop, and so we just finally opened a month ago, and had our business hours, and people were coming through. And now it's to the point where we're beating people off with a stick that want to live here. So if you want to start a place like this yourself, what's important is to have an idea for what you want. We knew what we want because we knew what we didn't want. We wanted to have a street art gallery that was not at the brewery and didn't have to deal with those rules. We also wanted to start a place that was going to be a source of inspiration for the city of Los Angeles, that wasn't going to be held down so much by the fact that the government likes to push the arts out. Um, Not necessarily because the government doesn't like art or anything like that, but artists, it's such a hard way. You have to be so hard-nosed as an artist to kind of make it. You have to go somewhere where they're not tripping on the fact that there's some artists there. As long as the artists are following the major laws, then they can break the small ones. Just certain things about like having a bunch of people in your building and stuff like that. You got to get permits for that. And while we do that now, at first it wasn't really an option. So you gotta find some place where it's the same reason why artists typically move into places that are downtown or like Skid Row type areas. It's cheaper and you can get away with more because the cops are worrying about other stuff. It is so freaking loud here, man. I have to keep stopping this damn video. But so like I was saying, first thing to do is you find people that want to do the same thing you're doing. For us, it was street art gallery that could inspire people. Urban art gallery is what it's turned into now. And then you make sure that you're finding the people who can help you build those ideas up. Creative people who will come up with creative solutions. No idea is too big. Being realistic is the shortest road to mediocrity. So what you need is to be totally unrealistic with it and just do it no matter what. You need to definitely have something somewhere that's going to allow you to keep surviving every month, like a full-time job, or parents that want to support it or something like that. But you need to bring people around who are going to say, we'll do this no matter what it takes. If it takes me 3 years, whatever, it'll take 3 years, but we're still going to do it. And then from there, just go start searching for places that are really, really cheap. Try to find somewhere that's like 33 cents per square foot or something like that, cheaper than that if you can. And in an area that you can bring in a crowd, not too far away from where the crowds actually are. And then just start working. Try to get a really long lease and just start working on it. Find a person who will let you work on the space even though you're not buying it, and just start working. At that point, you can start building a brand, and if you do get kicked out, you can move your brand elsewhere. And also, if you're going to be throwing a show, make sure you get the space done to whatever degree you want it done first. The space doesn't have to be done before you start throwing shows. We've thrown shows before that the space looked pretty ghetto, but if you present it well enough, then the show itself will be worth something. However, if you're trying to work on the show itself and work on the space, making it nice at the same time, and they both have the same due date, then they're both going to suffer. So that's my other piece of advice. And aside from that, just go out and kick ass. That's all it really takes. I'll see you guys tomorrow.